Do you want to speak English every day, but you still feel confused about the simple present tense?
Don't worry. In today's episode, we will explain the simple present in a very easy way.
And by the end of this podcast, you will know how to use it in daily conversations. Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our English Learning Podcast.
Today we are going to talk about one of the most important tenses in English, the simple present.
Many learners hear about this tense, but they don't always know how to use it correctly.
That's true. But the simple present is actually very easy when you understand its purpose.
So, Lily, when do we use the simple present tense?
We use the simple present to talk about things that happen regularly or habits.
Can you give us an example?
Of course. For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. every day.
That's a daily habit.
Exactly. Another example is, she drinks coffee every morning.
So we use the simple present for routines and daily activities.
Yes, and we also use it for general facts.
Like what?
For example, the sun rises in the east.
That's a fact that is always true.
Right. Now let's talk about the structure of the simple present.
Good idea.
For most subjects, we use the base form of the verb.
For example,
I work. You work. They work.
but what about he, she in it?
Good question. With he, she, and it, we usually add s to the verb.
Can you give an example?
Sure. I work in a bank. But she works in a bank.
So the verb changes a little.
Yes, but it's a simple rule.
What about negative sentences?
To make negatives, we use do not or does not.
For example,
I do not drink coffee. She does not drink coffee.
that's very clear.
And for questions, we start with do or does.
Like, do you speak English?
Exactly. Or, does she work here?
I think the simple present is not as difficult as people think.
Yes, with practice it becomes very natural.
Lily, I think many learners understand the rule, but they still make mistakes with the simple present.
That's true. One common mistake is forgetting the s with he, she, and it.
Yes. For example, some people say, she work every day.
But the correct sentence is, she works every day.
Exactly. That small s is very important.
Another mistake is with questions.
What do you mean?
Some learners say, you speak English?
But in English we usually say, do you speak English?
Yes, we need do or does to ask questions in the simple present.
Let's give more examples for our listeners.
Good idea.
I'll say a sentence, and you can explain it.
Perfect.
I study English every day.
That's a habit, so we use the simple present.
Another sentence. He plays football on weekends.
Again, that's a regular activity.
What about this one? They live in London.
That's a general fact about their life.
Lily, can we also use the simple present to talk about schedules?
Yes, absolutely.
Can you give an example?
For example, the train leaves at 8 p.m.
So even if it's in the future, we can still use the simple present.
Exactly, because it's part of a schedule.
Let's give our listeners a small practice.
Great idea.
I'll say a subject, and you make a sentence in the simple present.
Okay.
She.
She reads books every night.
Good. Now they.
They watch movies on the weekend.
Perfect.
Now it's your turn, Mark. Make a sentence.
Okay. I drink coffee in the morning.
That's a very common daily routine.
Yes, many people do that.
Another good way to learn the simple present is to talk about your daily life.
For example,
You can say, I wake up at 7. I go to school. I study English. I watch YouTube.
That's actually a great way to practice.
Yes, because you use the tense in real situations.
So today we talked about the simple present tense and how to use it in everyday English.
We learned that it is used for habits, routines, facts, and schedules.
We also learned how to make positive sentences, negatives, and questions.
Remember to practice by talking about your daily life.
Try to make simple sentences every day.
For example, I learn English every day.
And little by little, your English will improve.
In the next episode, we will talk about another important tense in English.
Thank you for listening to our English Learning Podcast.
And don't forget to keep practicing.
See you in the next episode.